What is good, people? Satsuki the Savage here, and today is going to be a video on Yumeko Jabami, just going over a character recap. And I wanted to make this video for three reasons. One, because I just find Yumeko to be an interesting character. Two, because she's my favorite character, and that usually does not happen for main characters. If you know anything about me, usually I like the secondary characters. And three, I'm making this video because there are not a lot of Kakegurui videos, at least any positive ones. The ones that I see are why Kakegurui is not a good gambling anime, why Kaiji is better than this. And I'm like, yo, we need to have some more Kakegurui praise on YouTube in general. I wish there was a bigger community for this series, but you know, I'll try to play my part, all right? So with that being said, let's get started. Yumeko Jabami, a transfer student who has thrust Hikawa Academy into chaos since her debut. The surface information that we know about Yumeko so far is that she is a second-year high schooler, she comes from an affluent background, she has lost both of her parents, she has one hospitalized sister, and she is a part of the infamous Momobami clan. Going more in depth with Yumeko, she is a rarity because although she is simple in a sense, there are multiple facets to her character. So the first place I want to cover is her interesting personality. It's difficult to find main characters in anime who are truly neutral. Sure, there are MCs that belong in the gray area in terms of morality, but they usually lean to either the good or bad side, one way or another. One of those scarce main characters is Yumeko, someone who displays a balance of good and evil. So let's look at the good in Yumeko first. Usually, Yumeko's personality outside of gambling can be described as bubbly and cute. You can find Yumeko trying to befriend mostly everyone she comes across, being very affectionate towards all, including people she barely knows. Yumeko is constantly smiling and talking in a polite tone of voice. Her mannerisms typically exude a positive vibe. You'll seldom see Yumeko angry or in an unpleasant mood. She usually never harbors ill will towards anyone, despite what they may have done to her. Think back to characters like Yumeko's classmates, who bullied her after she failed a pet status, Kiwatari, who attempted to sexually assault her, Mio, who poisoned and almost killed her. With those people, Yumeko never showed a semblance of animosity. And while some people may believe that Yumeko's nice girl persona is a facade, the fact that she consistently acts this way, even in life or death situations, should support that Yumeko is 100% authentic. In addition to Yumeko's kind attitude, she has made moves in the series that will lead you to think that she is a good person. Yumeko has been a hope for the pets of Hikawa Academy, being a personal example that getting out of that system is possible, and being someone who has freed others from petship. First there was Suzui, who Yumeko just straight up gave money with no strings attached. Then there was Mary, who Yumeko assisted during a game of Indian poker, pushing her to first place so that her debt could be erased. Lastly, there was Tsubomi, who I'll talk about more later, but Yumeko was able to figuratively free Tsubomi from the psychological shackles of petship, encouraging her to fight back against her oppressor, Kiwatari. We also know that Yumeko is paying the expenses for her sister's treatment. There of course will be more to that story, but as of right now, we had to take that act at face value and label it as a good deed. With the moments I mentioned, the alleged bright side of Yumeko is clear, but looking more closely at her, there lies a more darker side. On the outside looking in, Yumeko can appear to be generous and selfless, but that is far from the truth, and I'll provide some examples. Under the reign of the current student council president Kirari, there exists the house pet system, which many unlucky students have suffered from, including Yumeko at one point. After Yumeko escaped from her house pet status and expressed a desire to gamble with Kirari, some assume Yumeko's mission was to abolish the loathsome pet system, but unfortunately, Yumeko is no messiah. Yumeko simply desires to gamble with Kirari. Nothing more, nothing less. She would be totally okay with keeping the status quo of the pet system, so long as her bottom line isn't affected. Another great example is chapter 63, where we get Tsubomi's thoughts on Yumeko, which pretty much encapsulates her character in short order. Tsubomi thinks to herself that Yumeko is not a hero, nor a house pet savior, but someone who gives others opportunities. Basically, Yumeko isn't the type of person to put a cape on to help you out of a burning building, but she would give you a chance to get her help so long as you gamble with her. The last example I'll provide to show the not so flattering side of Yumeko is her reaction, or lack thereof, to the fate of Mayuta after their gamble. Mayuta went into insurmountable debt, earning him a lifetime status as a house pet, which shook him enough to turn his hair white, yet Yumeko did not give a fuck. In chapter 46, Yumeko talks with Mayuta in the aftermath of their match, and she expresses that she doesn't feel guilt about the consequences of her gambling. Ultimately, Yumeko doesn't feel remorse to the people she inevitably drags down in her gambling frenzy. In conjunction with Yumeko's lack of sympathy, she is proven to be quite deceptive on occasion. There was the one time Yumeko tricked Saori by planting a recording device on her without her knowledge in order to blackmail Yumemite. Now, Yumeko only did this to raise the risk of their gamble, making the wager more balanced, but we can still surmise that Yumeko is not someone above manipulation when it suits her. On that note, that about covers the duality of Yumeko's personality, so the next place to go is her motivations. Yumeko is mainly driven by one thing and one thing only: an intense urge to have a good gamble. Yumeko truly embodies the title of the series she's in, Kakegurui, which can be translated to compulsive gambler. When it comes to gambling, the innocent and sweet Yumeko is often lost and is replaced by a red-eyed demon who doesn't even care about the outcome of the gamble, just raising the stakes to greater heights. Money, status, even Yumeko's very own life comes secondary to gambling. Those things are not priorities, but are the capital for Yumeko to gamble to her heart's content. This one-tracked objective for Yumeko explains a lot about her, and is the reason why I say her actions aren't backed up by malevolence or malice, just her own self-interest. The last place I want to go is the philosophy of Yumeko as I try to unveil her way of thinking. Yumeko's nature could be described as amoral. She is someone who doesn't really value good or evil. While Yumeko can acknowledge good deeds and express gratitude when helped, she herself is not particularly concerned with morality, evident by her variety of associates. Yumeko is friends with Suzui, who is a straight-laced righteous guy, as well as Sumeragi, who was, or maybe still is, an insane bitch who collects the nails fresh off of people's bodies, showing that Yumeko doesn't base friendship on one's ethics. You can also get a feel for Yumeko's train of thought by looking at the people or person she despises. Enter Midori Ikishima. Yumeko's disdain for Midori doesn't even stem from her own doings, like pointing a fucking Smith & Wesson revolver in her face, but instead, it comes from Midori's opposing philosophy on gambling, which leads me into another point. In gambling, Yumeko has a certain code that she follows, which is why she doesn't get along with Midori at all. Midori views gambling as a medium to take trivial risk, all in order to reach death, but on Yumeko's side, she doesn't see risk as pointless because it's the risks themselves that she loves. Yumeko reaches her climax by betting big. She loves nothing more than a gamble that puts everything on the line. This mentality Yumeko has is the reason she got angry with Yumemite during their gamble against Sumika. During the last round of that gamble, Yumemite resolved to give up and lose to Sumika because of her being blinded by her own admiration. In Yumeko's eyes, this meant that Yumemite was building up excuses by moving the goalposts, stripping the fun out of the risk and losing, which of course didn't sit well with Yumeko. Aside from that, what's interesting about Yumeko is that she is perfectly fine with cheating and gambling, so long as it doesn't ruin the fun of the game. I believe Yumeko is okay with cheating because as long as the gamble isn't a surefire win for either parties, she only views the act as a way to ante up the danger. With that being said, Yumeko usually doesn't cheat initially and practically only cheats when her opponent does so as well. The last aspect of Yumeko's mind I want to go over is her awareness of her own oddness. In chapter 69, there's a gamble between Mio and Mary where Mio has poisoned herself, forcing Mary to make a choice: win and let Mio die, or lose and let Mio live. As Suzui and Yumeko spectate this gamble, Suzui asks Yumeko would she stop Mio if she was in Mary's shoes, to which Yumeko replies, "If I said no to you, Suzui-san, would you think less of me for it?" Yumeko's response to Suzui's question implies that she already knows how she would be judged if she was in that scenario. This is further backed up by Yumeko's surprise at Suzui saying he wouldn't think anything less of her if she didn't stop Mio in that hypothetical situation. In a nutshell, while Yumeko may be perceived as simply crazy, she hasn't completely lost her mind, as she understands how she comes across to other people, making her the quintessential psychopath. I liken Yumeko to characters like Kenpachi from Bleach and Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. These are characters that aren't angels nor devils. They are thrill seekers whose pursuit of their own pleasure coincidentally aligns them with both sides of good and evil. Alright people, that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on Yumeko. Tomorrow is going to be the same deal with Mary, so stay tuned for that. I'm also going to drop a top 10 Kakegurui moments video. I don't know when. Alright, but that's going to happen in the near future, alright? But guys, that is it for this video. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Satsuki the Savage, out.
Am I dying to live, or am I living to die? Living a lie, with my head stressed out, see I'm stressed out.